time for the Ron and Brian podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It's 8 p.m. And it is time for episode 254 of the Ron and Brian podcast. And what an episode we have for you here tonight. I'm excited. Brian, are you excited?
So excited. Coming up shortly, he has not logged in yet. Do I dare say that he's a Renaissance man?
I think at the very least you can say that.
The man's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
The man is a guitar player. The man is a painter. He is a clothing designer, television star. What am I missing here, Ron?
Movie star.
Movie star. The man is Dave Hill.
Yes.
And he will be on momentarily. He has not signed on yet, but we've given him the link. I will be mortified if he neglects to log in today.
I feel he will be with us. I have the faith. In the meantime, let's do some of our usuals. As always,
drink of the week.
Drink of the week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud. Drink of the week. Cruncher.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
I did not hit the post on that intro song. I was very, very sloppy, but
perfectly fine. Don't worry about it, Ron, because Matt will edit that in.
I'm sure
in post production. He'll be able to do that. Do not worry about it, Ron.
Yes.
What are you drinking?
Oh, you're starting with me this week? All right.
Yeah, we're gonna mix it up.
So I'm nursing a tad bit of a hangover today. Hanging out with Jardy's friends of the podcast yesterday at the Glenside Arts Festival. Beers were drank, items were purchased, food was partaken of, a good time was had by all. So I'm keeping it simple this week with a little Liquid Death sparkling water. That's right, Brian. Murder your thirst with Liquid Death.
Are you drinking water for your drink of the week?
This week I am, my friend. Listen, you've drank water as your drink of the week in the past, so I don't.
Yeah, but I was on antibiotics at the time because I was dying of COVID.
Listen, you do you, I'll do me, my friend. You tell me what you're drinking then. You shame me with whatever it is you're bringing to the table.
I have brought to the table, let's see, what point does this become fuzzy? Hold on. See, this is the screen. All right, we've got Born to Run, which is a blood orange sour ale from our dear friends over at Whetstone Brewing Company. Look at the color of this. Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh. Ron, we're looking at 3.5% ABV. A classic Ghost ale, Ghost,
I think.
Ghost. With a citrus twist. Born to Run is everything you want, Ron. Light, only 3.5 alcohol per volume. Flavorful, refreshing, slightly tart, with just a touch of salt and coriander. You will not find any lactose involved in this beer. This ale is kettle soured and fermented with the juice of ripe blood oranges for a perfect balance of sweet and tart.
Nice.
Liked beer.
All right. What's your thoughts on it, Brian?
Oh, that's a good beer.
I liked beer.
I've been into sours. I've been into sours.
Yeah, you have been. But it's getting to that time of year, especially if it's a lighter sour, like a citrusy sour.
Yes.
It's definitely getting to be crushable season, without a doubt.
Oh, yes. And we look forward to crushable. Maybe we can have a, do you think that Broken Goblet will bring back Lager King?
I don't know. They haven't done that. They've done some other lagers. They did their Doom lager, and there was one other lager they did. Have not seen Lager King show up yet, but we can see. We can certainly ask them and see what they're willing to bring back.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
As always, it's all we can do, Brian. It's all we can ask of ourselves is to do our best.
Tell me a little bit about this arts festival and why was I not invited to it?
I mean, it was a just an outdoor vendor-driven festival event. They shut down a couple of the main streets in Glenside, which was one of the next towns over. So there was a bunch of different. You could get like license plate art. You could get clothing, jewelry, food, drink. There were some bands performing. The restaurants and bars along the way were open as well. So it was a beautiful day yesterday. Beautiful day.
Was, yes. Definitely want to be outside.
I know how you react to the sun sometimes. So, that was one reason. Also, it's
that hurts.
I don't think you like art at times. So
that's a lie. I am a huge fan of art. I think my idea of art might not be yours. I like things that are more experimental in terms of materials, mediums. I feel like the kind of things that you define as art really is just a canvas, trapped around a wood frame and somebody throwing some ink on it. That's your version of art. No, to me, art's everything. Art is in the air that we breathe. It's the sounds that we hear. Wow. It's in my blood.
Yeah, I will say when I go to MoMA, I'm like, a lot of this does not feel like art to me.
And when was the last time you were at MoMA?
I'm not gonna lie, it's probably been 11 or 12 years.
It's probably been longer for me. That's not true. I went to MoMA. I will say genuinely about 15 years ago, and I saw Woody Allen walking around with Sun Yi.
Really?
I don't know that he knew he was there, because he genuinely looked confused, and she was clearly leading him from room to room. We passed each other probably about 2 or 3 times, and each time I saw him, the first time was just like, oh my God. And he had the little, the canvas bucket hat. Right. And I remember being like, holy shit, that's Woody Allen. And then but I didn't want to interrupt him. So we just, crossed paths. And then later in the day, I saw him twice more. And both times he looked equally confused. And it might've been the artwork that he was looking at that confused him and not just the fact that he had left his house.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Ron?
Yes.
What's bothering you?
You mean, what's my beef of the week?
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
You don't think I would ever let a week go by where I couldn't play my favorite bumper of all times, do you?
I thought I would intro the bit.
You give it a shot. You give it a shot.
You know what? I like this. You going first, Ron. What's bothering you?
So I guess my beef this week is in relation to the technology in my house and how reliant I've become upon it. Because
here comes some white privilege. I'm hearing it. I hear it coming. A little white privilege.
So no, it was. I mean, I don't think you can assign a color to it. So first world problem, without a doubt.
Right.
So Thursday night we were having some issues with our Rokus in the house. We couldn't get our cable app to stream for whatever reason. And so I was trying to see if it was the Roku, but it wasn't. So then I was like, well, let me reboot the router and see if that does it. So I reboot the router and now the router's on, but nothing will connect to the router. So now everything in the house is now disconnected from the internet, TVs, phones, computers, whatnot.
Sure.
So then I spend upwards of 2 hours attempting to factory reset and reconnect the router, failing each and every time. Like it would get to a certain step and then be like, nope, not happening. So I'd have to go through it again. And then eventually around 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, well, I have to buy a new router. But it's like, now we won't be able to, because we both work from home, my wife and I, but we have no connection to the internet. So I have to figure out how to get a router first thing in the morning. So then I'm like Googling Best Buy, but they don't open till 10 a.m. And I'm looking at like Office Max and Staples, but they don't have what I need in stock. And then, but my good friend at Walmart has delivery available and can deliver it between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. So I'm thinking this is perfect. I'll buy it. It'll get delivered in the morning, and I'll set it up, and we'll be good to go. Order it, go to sleep, wake up in the morning with a text from Walmart. Sorry, it's not in stock. How did it go out of stock from 10 o'clock last night to that? But found it available at another Walmart near me. So I ran out, got it, brought it home, got everything set up, at least got online for work, and then had to reconnect every blessed device in the house to the router. A lot of it reconnected, but there were, I would say, it's probably a good 25% did not automatically connect.
Did you get the same type of the same brand router, or just totally
but
brand new
I got a different router, but I always keep the same network name and password, so I don't have to reprogram the devices.
That's clever. Why did I never think of that?
Yes, but unfortunately, I still had a number of things that I had to reconnect, and I still have a few things that just won't reconnect, but they're not fortunately not urgent, but I'll have
your work computer.
Well, work computer, that was the most urgent, so thankfully that was all set.
Got it.
Brian, what's bothering you this week, sir?
What's bothering me, Ron? Eating healthy. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. As many of you have listened previously on the podcast, I had my physical not that long ago. I was told that I had high cholesterol and I needed to start taking a statin to lower my cholesterol numbers. Went for the follow-up blood work to see how the statin was working. While there, I was chatting with my physician, and they weighed me, and I expressed some unhappiness over the fact that I had felt like I had been making some better decisions food-wise. However, I really wasn't taking off the pounds. And my doctor really kind of gave me this, how do I say this politely, a no-nonsense kind of conversation of stop fucking around.
Or you'll find out.
Yeah, but I didn't really think that I didn't think that I was behaving that poorly. But he basically was like, yeah, you got like 20 or 25 pounds that you need to take off.
Do you track what you eat in a day?
Meaning, do I write down or do I mentally?
I mean, okay, Grandpa,
I don't have an app.
You can write it down, but you can also use an app.
No. I do not write it down.
All right.
But I also know exactly. I mean, I know where I'm screwing up. I know the fried foods. I knew the carbs, the bread. When you're asking the waiter for a third basket of bread, that you're not behaving. I mean, I'm smart enough to know I'm making some bad life decisions. But over the past 2 weeks, I have certainly tried to eliminate desserts, eliminate sweets. If it's I'll eat a piece of fruit, but I'm not having any kind of pastries or cookies or whatnot. Which is rough. And then I've also, not had any pasta.
Right.
I've been working out. Went to did a 35 minutes on the elliptical today. Did 35 minutes yesterday. Weight's coming off. Not going to lie. Dropped a few pounds. But holy fuck, it's not fun.
Have you been tracking your calories, I guess, is the question.
I'm not tracking calories. Right. I'm just eating. I've cut back on portion size. So a salad that I would normally get for lunch and I've knocked out, I've now gotten myself to the point where eating about maybe 2/3 of it. And I've sat there and said, I'm not hungry anymore.
Right.
I'm feeling satisfied. I would have normally just continued to knock this out, but I'm going to stop right now.
High fiber seems to be key also. You get a good amount of fiber and that makes you feel fuller longer.
But does it make you poop?
I mean, I mean, do you not poop in general?
I don't poop often enough.
Okay. Then the high fiber, I think, would definitely help.
My doctor says since your body has always been like this, I refer to it as a undiagnosed case of IBS. But I go through periods of time where I'll go like 4 days without going, physically feeling fine. Wow. And then I will go like, 3 times in one day.
There are experts out there saying that you may not be drinking enough water. You should take your body weight times 0.55, and that is how many ounces of water you need in a day.
I'm drinking 2 large water bottles a day.
Okay.
I've got two. I've got a water bottle that was. I think it was measured for like the 8 cups of water, 8 glasses of water,
Okay.
which shows you printed on the side of the water bottle how much, like what time of the day,
Right.
so that you can keep track of how much, so that between the hours of 9 and 5, you can take in that amount of water.
Let's do the math here.
Are we? Oh my gosh, are we doing math?
So what's well, I mean, if you're willing to admit what your weight is.
I am. Earlier today, I weighed myself at 202.
That's not too bad.
Well, it was 210, maybe 2 weeks ago.
So you should be drinking 111 ounces of water. So if you're drinking 8 glasses, which is usually around 12 to 16 ounces. I mean, if you're doing 2 of those, I would think you're doing okay to hydrate yourself.
Hydrating is not my problem. And the thing for me is when my pee comes out aromatic and a dark yellow, that's when I know I'm not drinking enough. But when it comes out like almost a clear, like a water, like, that's when I know I'm properly hydrated. So my urine tells me whether I'm hydrated or not.
Well, enough talk about your urine, Brian. It is time to bring our guest in. We are very excited. We're both big fans of this gentleman.
Yes.
We have gone to see him live. We've seen him perform comedy. We've seen him perform with his bands. We have read his books. We have purchased his artwork.
Yes.
Seen his movies, seen his TV shows. He has performed in this very backyard out here that you can't see.
Who can ever forget when this man appeared in your backyard?
Yes. So without further ado, we present to you the Ron and Brian interview with Dave Hill. And joining us this week on the Ron and Brian podcast, one of our favorites, obviously, Mr. Dave Hill. Dave, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm pulling the thing slightly closer. There we go.
Right. We're getting a good image. I'm the video is like a 9.5 out of 10 right now.
Is the sound okay?
Sound is perfect. Sound is
great.
Perfect.
All right. It's all happening.
There's a very obvious question I think we need to start with here. Looking at everything that you've done in your career, music, writing, comedy, art, the whole shebang, which would you say ranks higher on your career resume, being on this podcast or performing in my backyard back in October 2021?
Oh man, that's a tough call. I would say, I'm always a fan of in-person, good times. So I would say you're in your backyard.
Nice.
And it was nice to meet folks, and I had some snacks, I believe, and I drank some beer, and all in all, a quality evening. Good times all around.
Now, a follow-up question naturally has to be, how would you rate Ron's living room and backyard with the other backyard or living room shows that you did towards the latter part of the pandemic? Did he have the nicest home or did he have the worst?
Oh, it was gorgeous. I loved it. Gorgeous home.
And of course, a quick photo from that night, so people that were there that night can remember. We were so young, so innocent back then.
We were just kids then.
Look at that.
Yeah. Look, there's the beer I was talking about.
Yes.
I did something really, I should just, I guess to give, maybe this will, controversy, but I don't know if it was that beer, but I was walking with it. My sister and my brother-in-law, they came to the show, and then drove me, I want to say, to their house. And I had a beer still, and then my brother-in-law didn't want me to take the beer in the car for fear of getting in trouble by the law or something. And I panicked and I finished it and I left it on the curb, which is like, I felt horrified because we were too far from your house for me to run it back, I think, even though that's clearly what I should have done, or just take. I really just I didn't handle the situation well, and I sullied the streets of your town by leaving a beer can placed neatly. But I can honestly count maybe 3 times in my life when I've littered, and that was one of them.
Well, we'll let it slide. I mean,
I feel awful. I feel awful. I'm letting it out now because it was just been with me and eating me alive.
The statute of limitations have passed, so I don't believe that the town of Elkins Park can really come after you at this point.
No, but if they wanted to show up, screaming and with burning me in effigy or whatever they would do, I would understand it, because I'm really don't like littering, and I did it myself.
Well,
but I just thought, I need to
needed to unburden yourself.
I need to unburden myself.
I mean, it's kind of a lazy town I live in. I don't think they would necessarily build an effigy, much less burn it. So I think you're in the clear here.
Yeah, but I would, at the same time, as we talk about it, I would like to see it. I would like to see like what sort of, what I would look, if someone were to make a large effigy of me.
It would be the best dressed effigy that has ever been burned.
I know.
You're a very stylish man. I mean, from the looks of it, you have an incredible wardrobe over your shoulder.
Oh, well, this over here is, I'm in a room that is mostly clothes and guitars. You can see over here, man, just a lot of guitars. And but these are my girlfriend's clothes, and I have some in here. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but yes.
Are you sitting in a walk-in closet?
No, it creates the illusion of a closet, but it's not. It's really just a bedroom that we've crammed with clothes and guitars. It's kind of an office, I guess you might say. A podcasting studio.
Nice.
I do a lot of things in here. I do some artwork. I record music, rip some guitar solos.
So we kind of mentioned at the start, I mean, you're a comedian, you're an actor, musician, author, artist, and now clothing designer. Which of all of the above did you least picture yourself ever doing?
I guess either comedian or clothing designer, because I really didn't I would say comedian, especially. I never really sought to become a comedian. It was sort of accidental and just kind of going with the flow of things. And then then all of a sudden it was my job. And then I guess fashion designer, or for lack of a better, that sort of came about of painting. Actually, you bought one of my earliest pandemic things that I painted, a saw.
Bought a saw, correct?
And I started doing stuff, and that I had done stuff like that on and off over the years, but during the pandemic, I really started painting a lot and drawing a lot, and I was doing all these like floral patterns, and I have a friend who works in fashion, and then we were like, oh, let's just make clothes with these kind of patterns on them, and that's how that came about. But it was definitely something like that it was, I guess I made a bit more of a decision, whereas comedy, it was like people just started asking me like, oh, you want to do stuff? And I would show up, and just kept showing up. And now look at me. I'm in this clothes and guitar stuffed room.
And what would you say was your first big break as far as comedy goes?
I'm still honestly waiting for it. I feel like I've obviously, I have to be grateful in that, I have a career, and I've had a career for a while now. But I'm still kind of like, hey, where's my big break? Like, I feel like I work, but I always want more, and like, really want to act more. I think that would be fun. I love when I do it, but I don't think Hollywood has really embraced me ever. I've always kind of been on the I have fans all over the world, but they're not in Hollywood, I'll tell you that. So what are you gonna do? But whatever. I have a million sweet guitars, beautiful girlfriend, sweet dog,
Lucy,
and yet you're consistently working. You know, it's, I think that's one of the beautiful things about comedy is that you do have the ability to just say, I'm going to book a show and I'm going to go to this town, and you have fans show up, and you're not required, you know, a Hollywood studio to sit there and say you have the right look, or you're not doing these lines and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And I'm grateful for that, and that, I can, and more, that's my thinking, is just like go to, people will come out, and I'll just go there and just kind of deal directly with people that want what I have to offer, So, yeah, but I think that's a big part of it, is like, that's why I've always performed live and written books and made music, is because those are like three things that I can do, and there's an audience for it, and like there's not a bunch of people involved whose jobs, are on the line of like whether they say yes or no, and they're afraid, So I'll kind of always do that stuff until I get that big Hollywood break, which I'm not at this point. I'm not, I'm not holding my breath. I'm probably closer, more just thinking of, I don't know, just keep having fun. But I don't know. I think, and if there's one thing I've learned in my career or life in general, is you have to do what you love doing. I mean, I know this is cliche, but you just kind of do your thing, and that's always more important than being like, oh, when is someone else going to come along and give me permission to do what I want to do, like, which is why I'll do things like house shows, because I'm like, that's fun, and that to me is like even cooler than going out and doing a club, because then I'm not even dealing with a club, I'm dealing literally with one or two people who have the bad judgment to let me into their home, and then the people who come. So that's super fun to me. And so yeah, I forget what the question is. I'm just kind of rambling.
It was
rambling as always.
It's okay.
So now the first time I became aware of you was your TV show King of Miami on the Mojo Network. Both of which I feel were criminally underrated, both the channel and the TV show.
Strongly agree.
How did the TV show come to be? What's kind of the backstory there?
I'm slowly uploading them to YouTube. I finally got permission to do it. I shouldn't have asked. I should have just done it. But then I foolishly reached out to the network, or what exists of the network today, and then kind of slowed it down. But that came about really early in my career. I'd only been doing comedy for like a year and a half, and was completely naive to anything, which I think is a really good place to operate from, actually, to not have any notions of what you can and can't do or what's going on, because then you just do whatever the fuck you want. And I remember I was approached by a producer who's now a dear friend, Elise Roth, who wanted to figure out a show, and she, I talked to her, and then the Mojo Network that did the show, they somehow we got them interested, and they came to see me live at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and then they came out for drinks afterwards and were like, hey, we'd like to do a show, like do a pilot with you. And I remember just being like, Oh yeah, sure, cool. Like, but my friends are here, so I'll see you later. I just kind of talked to them for like 2 minutes, and I was like, all right, yeah, cool, let's do it. And then I just went drinking with my friends. Not, I guess it was a showbiz power move, just in that I was like, yeah, I'm going to hang out with my friends.
You didn't want to seem too anxious for them to lock you up.
I was just too naive to know that probably the thing would be to sit down and hang out with them. But I was like, no, my friends are here. I got to hang out with my friends. And
you wanted them to need you. You didn't want them to think that you needed them.
I guess I was. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't even thinking of it. I was just like, I was just doing what I wanted, which was to drink with my friends. And so we met with them, and they wanted to do the show. We we wanted to do a pilot. We did a pilot for King of Miami, and I think I feel okay speaking freely about all these things since the network doesn't exist anymore. But I think the head of the network was like, I don't understand what this is. I don't get this guy at all. But to his amazing credit, Emilio Nunes, who is a dear friend, he was allowed to, like, I guess, like, he called it a silver bullet, where he could, like, green light one thing that the president didn't like, and this was it. So he greenlit it, and we did it 6 episodes, which I think is a nice amount. That's a lot. A lot of the British shows do that. So I was happy with that. And so, yeah, we did it, and it was super fun. But at the time, I just thought, oh, I've been doing comedy for a year and a half, and I already have my own TV show. Like, this is the easiest business in the world. Like, you just get your own TV show after not really trying. And so I just kind of assumed, and here's where it bites me in the ass, I just assumed that, oh, this will be the first of many of TV shows that are my own TV show, and that's what I'll just do for my career. And as you know, one look at my IMDb page will tell you I was very wrong about that. I've done many pilots and presentations, sizzle reel type things where I was a star of, but to this day, no one in show business has given me my own show. So it was a hard showbiz lesson to learn.
Well,
but I've kept working. So
it seems like Mojo gave a lot of people. Like, I remember I found the Mojo Network because I was into poker at the time, and Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke had the show I Bet You, and through that I got to know Three Sheets with Zane Lamprey and King of Miami. And in fact, you and I, to another throwback photo here, we actually met at a Zane Lamprey party going all the way back to 2009. Look at these baby-faced kids right there.
I remember that. That was at, like, I can't remember. Is that some, like, big place?
Yeah, it was right next to Scores. That's the one thing I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember I went to a couple of those things. If I may, Ron, you're in much better shape today than you were then.
Thank you. That was not a great time physically in my life.
Well, you're doing better than ever.
Well, thank you.
I'm just, and really just, you're better dressed now. I mean, you have some serious dad jeans on in this photo.
I was not a fan of tapered legs back then.
You were a rock bottom in that photo.
No, you're not wrong. Dave, I mean, you're really not wrong.
Dave, you also look much better now. I don't want just the compliments to go towards Ron. You have also stepped up your game from those years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was a younger man then, and I did not give any thought to what I ate or drank for many years, and now I do. So, but yeah, Zane, I'm still friends with Zane. I haven't seen him in a while, but we keep in touch, and he's a lovely man. But I'll tell you his secret, if I can. He's gonna get mad if he hears that I said this, but I went to one of these things, and I was like, I went to a couple of these gatherings that he did, and I was like, how do you do this? Like, you're the ringleader for a bunch of drinking. And he's like, well, if you really watch closely, I don't really drink that much. Like, it's the illusion of drinking a lot, because like otherwise I would be passed out.
Sure.
And then once he told me this, I made a point of making him chug beers with me over and over, because I was just at like one of the stops of his bar crawl. So I was like, I only have to do this, you know, I can chug 3 or 4 beers, whatever, but he's got to keep going. And he was like, you motherfucker. Like, because he couldn't get out of it. Anyway.
It's true, because we saw Zane this past fall, Brian and I, at a brewery near where I live, and
Broken Goblet. Yes.
And we drank throughout the entire event. Sure. And come to think of it, he did not drink much. There was a time where Brian decided to take a little nap in the second half of Zane's performance.
I may have. Well, the Q&A session just it went on and on. Everybody had questions, and Zane just had, you know, really long answers, which were all fascinating. But mix that with the high alcohol content of the beers that were sold at Broken Goblet that night, and the fact that I had woken up at 6 a.m. that morning to go to work, it all contributed to me needing a nap.
I hear you. And my first thought is, you got to quit that job if you haven't already.
Pays the bills. That's the problem.
Oh, I'm against it.
Sorry.
So now you've mentioned recently on social media, you've mentioned you've got a book coming out in October, and you're also finishing up an album. What can you tell us about those projects?
The book is called The Awesome Game, and there's a subtitle, but I don't have it in front of me, and I can't even I haven't committed it, because the reason it's not in my brain is because, I'll tell you, I could look it up. The reason is because we kept changing it a little bit. And that's why I don't have it committed to memory. But it's called The Awesome Game, and it's about hockey, and it will be out October. It's about hockey and, you know, hockey adjacent topics. There's a bit of memoir in it. There's a bit of travelogue, but there's mostly hockey. There's a lot of hockey. And it's an amazing book, as you can imagine. And I went all over the world. I went to Kenya. There's a team there called the Kenya Ice Lions. I played with them. They're now dear friends. I'm going to go back. So that's out October 17th. Penguin, Random House, Doubleday Canada will be putting it out in Canada, and then I think other countries. I have to look. I should know some more details than I'm giving you. But in America, it's going to be Triumph Books is publishing it. So this is my first time having multiple publishers as part of the global assault of my. Usually, I've just had one in the past, and so yeah, it's going to be cool. And I'll do some appearances as part of it. All in America and Canada, and then I'm finishing up. And it's a great. If you love hockey, you'll love the book, and if you don't love hockey, you'll love the book, and if you don't even like sports, you'll love the book.
Yes,
because this is a dangerous thing to say as a man who has just completed a book about hockey. I don't like sports. I like sports, singular, and that sport is hockey. And so the book is just kind of about what's drawn me to this magical sport throughout my life, and why I agree with people that don't like sports, that most sports suck. And I talk about all this in the book. And football fans will be offended by what I have to say in this book. Baseball fans, very offended. No, I don't, give anyone shit for liking these other sports. But my point is that hockey is the superior sport. And, but there's a lot of other stuff in the book. I mean, I pet a lion at one point in the book. So there's something for everyone. Lion petting. Oh, you want that? Fine. I got it. I'm doing shows in Finland. I'm in Estonia at one point for no good reason. And I actually deleted a lot of the stuff that happened in Estonia because it was incriminating.
Interpol can be very tough.
There's a lot of sketchy stuff went down in Estonia, and I just select it all and deleted it for good my own protection.
Mm-hmm. Smart.
And yeah, I deleted a lot of sketchy behavior. Most of, as you know, my last book, Parking the Moose, which is about traveling through Canada, there were people that suggested that I was mostly just drinking through Canada because it's like, oh, he's in bars all the time. But it's like, well, where else are you going to go to meet people and just talk with random people?
Mm-hmm.
Bars. So the hockey book is no different. I wind up in bars quite a bit, but I also wind up in many hockey games. I'm in a few restaurants, a few coffee shops, but you have to, you got to get out and meet people. But yeah, I went all over Poland, Finland, Canada, Kenya, and anyway. So yes, the awesome game, October 17th. I think you can pre-order it now, and I recommend it. And then I'm also finishing a new Valley Lodge album, which is my main band that's been together for, I think, 19 years now, which is insane. And it's our 5th record. Obviously not that prolific, but people know our band because one of our songs, "Go," is the theme song to the John Oliver show on HBO. So it's one of those bands that a lot of people know whether they realize it or not. And we're the best band. And where this new album is I really like it. I mean, I make the records just for my own enjoyment, and then hopefully other people will like it. But I think this is really good. I was just listening to it the other day, and I was like, Dave, you've done it again.
Is there a title for the album yet?
I have a few ideas. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be called Shadows in Paradise, which I've fully stolen from a title of a Finnish film by the great director, writer, Aki Kaurismäki. So yes, I'm just going to say it's going to be called Shadows in Paradise.
We've often stolen from Aki Kaurismäki too, so we can certainly understand.
I mean, if you're all the time.
Yeah, if you're going to steal from someone, he's a genius. So, and to be fair, he kind of stole that title from Jim Jarmusch from Strangers in Paradise. So I'm just blatantly just stealing again.
Pay it forward. That's what I like to say.
Yeah.
Now, how do the members of Witch Taint feel about you putting out an album without them?
Well, Witch Taint is kind of always, the inception of Witch Taint was just me, and it existed in my mind, and then gradually over the years it was realized turned into a full band, and then that band has imploded, combusted, and now Witch Taint is just down to just me again. And I should say that the implosion of the band is entirely my fault. No. And yet I don't apologize.
Nor should you. I just want you to know that Witch Taint is the only death metal band that Ron has ever seen perform live.
Very true.
Black metal, let's be clear.
Black metal, excuse me.
But
I mean, it was truly evil. It was a truly evil experience.
Extremely evil. So yeah, Witch Taint is it's kind of just back down to me, and it will rise again like a phoenix, maybe with other people, maybe, who knows, maybe with some of the same people, but yeah. So to answer your question, I think they're okay with it because it's just me.
All right. Now, would you be willing, before we wrap things up here, to go through a Ron and Brian lightning round? That is for the sound effects here.
If you can promise high production value sound checks or sound effects like that one you just delivered, then without question, I would be thrilled.
All right, so it's 10 rapid fire questions. No follow-up questions by us. You determine if you want to provide any additional context to your answers or not.
Okay. Do I have to answer in rapid fire fashion, or can
you could take your time.
Answer in my usual rambling, meandering fashion?
Whichever you would like. You're a guest here. We treat our guests well.
Okay. I love that sound effect.
Brian, would you like to take question 1 of the lightning round?
All right. First one. Is it best to be, which is the best city to be the king of? Cleveland, New York, or Miami?
Ooh, I would say New York, because it's the center of, I don't want to say the center of the universe, but I do believe it to be the greatest American city.
No argument from the two of us.
Pardon?
No argument from the two of us.
There are many great American cities, but New York is the greatest one.
Thank you.
And people can always, there's many things to complain about with New York and everything. But the things that, anyway, so it's New York without question.
All right.
Perfect.
This one might be the toughest question you've had to face so far. F, marry, kill, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump.
Well, I would say I shouldn't. This is a hard game to play because people can take what I say out of context. Though, I mean, but I guess I would, for the kill one, I would say the orange fella you mentioned, without question. To the fuck part, I would say the green person you mentioned, just to get it over with. And marry, I would probably marry Lauren Boebert, because I think she's just quite stupid and could probably be I think she's really stupid and very easily led. And I could probably, in a matter of a half hour or so, completely rewrite her whole belief system with my mind control techniques.
I would love to watch that. I would love to watch that.
I think she owns a restaurant, a bar restaurant.
Used to. Yeah.
Used to,
it got closed down. Yeah, it got closed down.
Why did it get closed down?
I think COVID.
Yeah.
How?
And then I remember they reopened a Mexican restaurant in the same physical space. And I remember the media having some fun with that one.
But how, of all places to get closed down because of COVID, how would Lauren Boebert restaurant, who I can only assume the people that go there don't believe that COVID is real. So why would they stop going?
I feel it was an excuse. Probably just poorly run.
Yeah, it couldn't have been COVID.
I think Lauren would also appreciate a husband that can go within 500 feet of an elementary school.
Oh, what did he do? I don't follow closely.
He exposed himself to a
underage girl.
No, I thought he did. We can say he did because that's a court case. He was found guilty of exposing himself to a minor.
To a minor, a boy or a girl?
Does it make a difference? I think it was a girl, but ultimately, in the eyes of the law, I don't believe that gender matters.
It doesn't make a difference at all. But however, my level of amusement would be different depending on which it was.
Ron, while you're looking it up, I'm going to ask the third question, which is, what is a better fashion choice?
Hypocrites, these people.
Oh, they're we know that. Absolutely.
So
right, here we go.
So anyway,
question number 3, better fashion choice, studded leather vest or a hockey sweater?
Ooh, I would have to say that's really tough. I guess I would say hockey sweater, even though I think a studded leather vest, you can really only wear that if you really mean business. It's a lot of responsibility and pressure goes with full metal attire. Like you have to be. So on the other end, the flip side, a hockey sweater is, as much as I'm wearing one right now, and as much as I love hockey sweaters, or jerseys as they're sometimes called to people who don't know what they're talking about. Even though in my new book, The Awesome Game, I do call them jerseys most of the time, just because I want it to be a book for the layman to also understand. But I think hockey jerseys are kind of the lowest form of clothing. They're nothing quite says I give up more than a hockey jersey, but I say this in the same breath. They are also amazingly cool. I wear them all the time, but I only wear them around my apartment or to the dog run or while exercising. I believe to walk into an establishment, a restaurant, you can go to a restaurant if you're going to a game immediately afterward, or you were just at a game. Still not advised, but yeah, it's a tricky thing. I love jerseys, but I don't. It's like Kevin Smith used to wear them all the time, and he just looked like a man not in control of his life. But Snoop Dogg, on the other hand, wears them quite a bit, and he looks amazing. So I guess it depends who's wearing them also.
And ironically, you're offering a pre-order for your Dangerous Snakes Who Hate Bullshit hockey jersey on your Big Cartel website right now.
Until tomorrow. The orders are almost, and I know there's going to be people who are like, oh, I want a jersey, and it's too late, because the only way to do it is to do them in like bulk.
Right.
Otherwise, they're too expensive to do as one-offs. And I don't, I try to keep all my offerings reasonably priced for the people. So yeah, they're until tomorrow, and they're pretty cool jerseys. I'm gonna get one. I'm excited.
You
do. Just real quick, Jason Stephen Boebert, apparently in January of 2004, when he was 24, exposed himself to 2 young women at a Colorado bowling alley.
When did he do this?
January of 2004.
Yeah.
So
he was with his future wife, Lauren Boebert. She was 17 at the time. So I'm imagining these women were friends of hers.
How old was he?
He was 24.
He was 24.
Okay. I mean, no age would have made it okay. But I would say definitely by the age of 24, you should know not to expose yourself, especially at a bowling alley or any other recreational sports facility. He was 24 and dating a 17-year-old.
Yes.
This is who we have in Congress right now.
This is really, I mean, Congress. I think growing up, you're taught like, oh, anyone could be president, and that has never been more true.
True.
Than now. Sure. Just the people that are in office. If someone would have told me even 10 years ago, the kind of absolute morons.
Sure.
And there's always been morons in public office, but now it's like next level head injury patients. Yeah. But whatever, Jason Boebert sounds like a real piece of shit. I was going to say piece of work, but I'll just say shit.
There you go. That goes too.
That.
Not a fan.
All right. Next lightning round question. You showed us your collection of guitars there. What's your favorite guitar to melt faces with? That's
really hard to answer, because I honestly, I have to narrow it down to like 10. I have this Delaney guitars, the Delaney bag, or Dime Laney, that is sort of a mongrel of a Dean custom shop guitar and a Delaney guitar. That is a total beast for melting faces. I have a Dunable Asteroid. That is an amazing guitar. I love that. I have a lot of great. I have a Gibson custom shop gold top, 56 gold top. That's absolutely amazing. Maybe my best guitar, probably definitely my best guitar, maybe. And then I have a USA SG. That is great. And also maybe my best guitar. Every guitar I've mentioned is my best guitar. And then I have, for real shredding, I have a Jackson USA Soloist, which is some guy in New Jersey. I don't know what was going on with him. Sold me this guitar. I met him in a parking lot, paid $1,000 or maybe $1,100 for it. And
sounds safe.
It's like, well, I found it on eBay, and then I somehow agreed to meet up with him because I was driving through or whatever. But it's like a $3,000, $4,000 guitar that I got for like $1,000. So thank you if you're listening.
All right, next question. Dave, what keeps you up at night?
Anxiety, depression, but then sometimes good things keep me up, sometimes just I'll be writing things in my head that keeps me up at night. But really the anxiety, depression, I think that and depression really do the trick in keeping me up. I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh my God. Oh.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say I was prescribed some Klonopin a few years back for just a little window where I was insanely anxious, and I was like, I need some medical intervention, and I didn't use it all, and I have it left over. I have leftover Klonopin, very good band name actually, and sometimes I'll just have a little pinch of that if I really can't get back to sleep. But not very often. I haven't been doing it lately.
I mean, I went on sertraline a few months back. Highly recommend it.
I don't know what that is.
So it's like a generic Zoloft.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Zoloft. I've taken that before.
Hasn't everybody at this point in the Northeast?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to. I hope for a day when I'm hoping to like get maybe 2 weeks of just sanity in my life. Mm-hmm. Just 2 straight weeks. It might come 20 years from now. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, you're a well-known ladies' man. Is it better to be king of Miami or mayor of Pound Town?
Oh boy, I'll go mayor of Pound Town, I guess. I mean, without question. I'm not saying, that's how I live my life, because I don't. But I would say, between that and being king of Miami, I would, king of Miami, it's great, don't get me wrong. But mayor of Pound Town, come on.
Makes sense.
Deputy mayor, I'd take deputy mayor.
Deputy mayor of Pound Town. I like that. Sure. All right, here we go. What is the best bread to make toast with?
I'm a simple man with regard to that. I would say I just like a nice wheat bread. I feel like it's a fairly neutral, palette for whatever you're going to do to the toast, whatever you're going to put on it. Don't get me wrong, I love a nice rye toast, but rye, then you're getting some fennel seeds involved. Yeah, they can overpower things. Yeah, you can go like, I'm going to put jelly or jam on this anyway, but who are you kidding? Fennel's going to win in the end. Very pro fennel, though. Don't get me wrong. I love fennel in all its forms. When I was in high school, my friend Pat, his dad was literally the sausage king of Cleveland, and now Pat is actually the sausage king of Cleveland. We would drive around in his dad's station wagon that he used for deliveries of sausage, and it smelled of pig's blood and fennel seed and a bit of oregano. And that is the scent of teenage drinking to me.
Makes sense.
All right, pick one. Dave Hill's Podcasting Incident, The Goddamn Dave Hill Show, History Fluffer, So You're Canadian, or The Dave Hill Good Time Hour?
Those are my various podcast radio iterations I've had over the years. I would say it's a tie. Dave Hill's Podcasting Incident, when I started, it was sort of like not, it was before there was 78 million podcasts. There's getting to be more of them. And I feel like the initial run, there was like a good audience for it. And you could sort of get away with, I think, anyway, blah, blah, blah. I guess that was the first one, so it has a special place in my heart. But the Goddamn Dave Hill Show on WFMU, I really like doing that because I love the idea of, I love terrestrial radio. I like, even though, many people listen on the internet, obviously, but I like the that people could just find the show on their radio dial and hear this show and be like, what is happening? And here there's a phone number. There'd be people that would call in that had no idea what was going on. And I love that idea. There's like a certain, I just love that feel of late night radio, like that somehow it's like you're connecting with this thing that's coming from a outer space radio tower or whatever. And it just reminds me of being a kid and turning on the radio late at night and flipping through and listening to the rock station, or you might just try to find the weirdest nut job on AM radio babbling about whatever. So I like the opportunity to be either of those things to people. So yeah.
All right. Good. All right, here we go. Lightning sound, please, Ron.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Which is the more intimidating musician to perform next to? Puddle's Pity Party or La Sinistra?
Well, they're both amazing vocalists. So I'd say it's kind of equal because they're both super talented. I guess La Sinistra is a bit scarier, much scarier. Puddles isn't scary at all. He's an absolute sweetheart. So I would say maybe the La Sinistra is a bit more intimidating because she's terrifying.
I just remember seeing Witch Taint at Mercury Lounge, and when she just first started singing, just that voice just blew through you.
Well, she's amazing. She, if I can break the fourth wall or whatever,
sure.
That's Jen Valley, and we had her sing. I met her actually. I maybe met her at FMU, or I met her. I can't even remember. But I met her, and then I saw a clip of her singing on Instagram, and was like, "Holy shit!" She's like a world-class opera singer. So when we started making the Witch Taint record, we had her come in and do, some backup vocals. And then when we started playing live shows, we were like, oh, you should totally be, in the band and play with us live. So now she's singing on, I'm excited. She sang a bit on the new Valley Lodge record. So, nice. And she sounds great. So, amazing vocalist. And Puddles as well.
Yeah. So she's not bitter over the fact that Witch Taint has imploded?
I think she wasn't. I think she maybe took it harder than I did. But because it was fun, So I think but I don't know. Maybe I'm sure we'll perform together again in some form.
All right. And final question: better title for this episode, "Sexy Time with Dave Hill" or "Porkapalooza with Dave Hill"?
I gotta go Porkapalooza with Dave Hill because that just sounds better.
We have the name of our episode.
I'm already picturing the T-shirt and all the things. Yeah, without question.
It's all about the merchandising.
Plus
about the merchandising.
Yeah, Porkapalooza, it's more
rolls off the tongue. It's got a little bit of alliteration. You know, it
really
brings a lot to the table.
Everyone's having fun. Yeah, I think it's good.
Well, we appreciate, Dave, you being on the show. It's been a fantastic interview. Later this week. No problem, folks. You can catch Dave Hill in upstate New York Friday night in Glens Falls, New York at the Park Theater, October 29th in Schenectady, New York, Proctor's Underground. I was actually born and raised in Schenectady. Have quite the I was actually scarred in my childhood due to Proctor's Theater. Real quick story if you guys have a minute.
Sure.
So 5th or 6th grade, I win a spelling bee at my local school, go to the regional spelling bee for a chance to go to the States. It's being held at Proctor's Theater. I could not handle the pressure of the bright lights, and I misspell sincerely in like the second or third round, forgot that second E. And so that was my first crushing defeat in front of a large group of people that took place on that Proctor stage. But it was even worse. I go to school on Monday. This is before the internet, before social media, hoping no one would know what happened. And there was a girl who I had beaten in the school spelling bee who had won the last couple of years. She was kind of bitter about it, came up to me right at the beginning of the school day and said, I know how to spell sincerely. And just crushing.
And that woman's name was Lauren Boebert.
It was, yes. It all comes full circle.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm sorry.
That is rough.
But great area, Dave. Upstate New York. Make sure you get out and see Dave. I mean, where can people find you on social media also? Because you've got a ton of stuff coming up.
I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I'm going to be in Dunellen, New Jersey, May 26th at the Dunellen Theater. Everyone has to come to that. All my dates are on my website, davehillonline.com. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and even Twitter as it burns to the ground. At Mr. Dave Hill, at Mr. Dave Hill. I'm definitely most active on Instagram. That's where I would go to really keep up with me and my antics.
Definitely. All right. Yeah. Well, again, thank you for appearing. Thank you for your time, and make sure you catch Dave Hill out on the road or catch his book and album later this year.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. I had a lovely time.
Well, that was even better than I could have hoped, Brian. That was, and I certainly appreciate the amount of time he spent.
Oh my gosh.
Again, he is a tremendously busy performer, has a lot of travel shows, things happening. He talked about him finishing his book and his 5th album with Valley Lodge, and he gave us all that time for our interview. And so we greatly appreciate it.
I'll be honest with you, had you said to me 3 days ago, do you know that Dave Hill has a book coming out soon? I would have said no, but now I can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
I'm gonna check and see. So he said it might be available for pre-order. Let me hop on Amazon real quick.
It is on Amazon's Canadian link right now.
Interesting.
It's not on the US. If you remember, he said there was a different US publisher than in Canada. The Canadian publisher seems to have their act together right now on Amazon.ca. Okay. You can pre-order a copy of the awesome game, One Man's Incredible Globe-Crushing Hockey Odyssey, set to be released on October 17th, 2023. Ron, you can let your wife know because I know she is a fan. She can get a copy on her Kindle, as well as you can order your hardcover copy. I know the two of you, she is all about her ebooks, and you are a fan of sitting in a chair and flipping the pages of a real book.
I like the feel of a solid book in my hand.
And yet she's not wrong for preferring the eco-friendly ebook for her Kindle. So those two are available for purchase in Canada. I'm just a little disappointed that American and our publishers are not there yet, but they will be.
Yes. Really enjoyed Dave Hill Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Tasteful Nudes, great book. Parking the Moose enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So I definitely will be getting a copy of this when it comes out. And I like Valley Lodge also. Big fan of his band there.
Yeah. Does he tour with them or no? I mean,
I don't
remember him mentioning that he was going to do dates with them.
Yeah, I've seen that. I believe I've seen him post on Instagram from time to time where he's been doing some performances. So,
well, we can officially call him a friend of the show.
Yes,
and we will keep his social activity out there, and we will keep promoting him.
We're talking the wife and I about redoing our backyard. I think if we do move forward with that, I think the best way to christen the backyard would be to have him come back for another performance.
Of course. Now, is it true that you will be putting in a full stage with a killer sound system?
Discussions are still underway. If we're going to do the full stage, we've talked to some big instrument companies and things like that, like, for naming rights and things of that nature. So I think it will
Ron
really
Delsner,
depend.
I believe, got involved. Yeah. Didn't Ron Delsner ask if he could start promoting shows in your backyard?
He did, yes. So it really depends on who ponies up the most amount of money to see who that gets named after.
Makes sense. I like it.
I don't know about you, Brian. I don't know of anything else that we can include in this show that would match up with the interview we just had. So I don't know.
Nothing. We can't top it.
Break from our normal news format. We will get back to that next week. Also, next week, Brian, hard to believe that this month has flown by the way that it has. But next Sunday is the final Sunday of the month. That means that we have our pajama party with our Patreon subscribers on our After Dark, which airs at 9:30 every Sunday night. You can join live for as little as $10 per month. Well worth it from a subscription price point. You get some great swag at the different levels. But like we said, next week we have our pajama party where our Patreon subscribers can come on live with us. And I believe it's time for a Can You Beat Ron? Because I think March
we will be doing Can You Beat Brian. Yes, we will be doing Can You Beat Ron next week.
And I believe since no one was able to beat me back in February, we have rolled over the prize money. And this month, if someone is able to beat me, $50 will go to a charity of the winner's choice.
Their choice.
I am going to do everything within my power to make sure that doesn't happen. Because
you're so powerful. You are
I like to win.
So
all I do is win, Brian. So if you want to become a Patreon subscriber, go to ronandbrianpodcast.com and you can check us out there. Brian,
there we go.
Anything additional? I mean, again, this has been a banner episode. I thought episode 250 was great, but I think 254 may have topped it.
Yes, I agree. This is, as the numbers get higher, the standard of what is a great episode keeps increasing alongside it. And having Dave Hill on the show this week really, I feel, set the bar for what will be defined moving forward as a great episode.
Without a doubt. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. We will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com. See you again next week.